Today I'm adding a receptacle to a wall behind an existing receptacle. People buy materials at Home Depot, like all of this stuff came from today, but they are really not sure exactly how to go about installing a new outlet. Today I'll show you. Before you start, ensure that all power to the circuit you're working on is completely off. Use a meter, a volt tester, or a lamp or clock radio to assure that you have turned off the correct breaker to the existing receptacle you're tying into. When removing a wall plate, be sure to take a thin-bladed knife and score around the edges, because painters often paint it in, and when you take it off you can rip away the finish. The electrical boxes are mounted on studs, so I take a long screwdriver, and if it goes in one side all the way, there's no stud there. The stud is on the other side. So now I can take a measurement so that I can match it on the other side of the wall for my new outlet. Once I take that measurement, I go around to the other side and add a few inches to it, so I'm just past that outlet. Once I've made my measurements and make sure the box is where I would like for it to be, of course I mark around it, I level it up, make sure it's plumb so it looks good, and make the mark all the way around the box that I'm going to be cutting in. This is called a old work box. According to Home Depot, we used to call it a cut-in box. It has ears on it similar to a toggle bolt, so that when you put it in a wall, turn the screws, the ears flip up and grab the inside of the drywall, and it has stops on the outside so that you can only go so far. Just don't over tighten. Then I take my end cutting tool. Now this wall, a previous DIYer or a homeowner had overlaid masonite over the sheetrock, and it almost burned up the blade on my cutter before I could finally get it out, and then I could cut the drywall in order to put the box in at the proper place. And it's right there. I can feel it with my hand. And I'll show you with my camera in just a moment. And there's the box. Now going back to our original outlet with the power off, I go into the box and there's knockouts in there that I can pop out so that I can feed my wire through for the new outlet on the other side of the wall. Takes a couple of moments to pop it out, but then you can slide your wire in there very easily. When I get near the end of the wire, I like to strip it back. These are ideal Romex strippers, and I like to strip it back about 6 inches and leave that much hanging out, and bend it over so that it doesn't get pulled accidentally into the wall and you lose it. On the other side, I simply reach my hand in, find the end of the Romex, and pull it through the wall. Now this is, I call it Romex, most people do. It's actually NM, or non-metallic sheathed cable. This is a white one. It's 14 gauge wire. It's good for a 15 amp circuit, which is what my circuit breaker showed in the panel that killed the power. If you have a yellow piece of Romex, it's 12 gauge and good for 20 amps. I like to strip back about 8 inches and have it ready so that I can have plenty to work with. The cut-in box has a knockout as well. This one doesn't come all the way out. It just opens up. You have to pry it open. I use my Phillips for that. And then feed the wire into the box so that you can get it secured into the wall. Going into the wall, you'll notice that I have to bend those clips over flat on the top and bottom and slide it into place. Then just take your Phillips screwdriver and tighten it up, and you'll feel it snug up to the wall very nicely. Then I strip back the wires. Now the outlets I'm using, like most outlets these days, have a back wire device, they call it, They have little holes on the back. You can just shove the wire into it without having to wrap it around the screw. Personally, I like to wrap it around the screw so I get a better connection. And I bend the crook on the wire and wrap the wire around it in a clockwise motion. That way, when you tighten the screw, it tightens the wire around the screw. It doesn't try and push it off or back it out. Now, the receptacles have little ears on each corner. You can bend the tabs back a couple of times on each corner and get them broken off. And what this does, the way the box is designed, when you get one, you'll see, it has a recess in it, and you can slide the receptacle right in that recess so it fits very snugly against the wall, and your plate will pull up tight to the wall. Now, as I tighten up my screws, something I like to do is take just a moment and twist the receptacle back and forth, make sure it's straight with the wall, so that when I put my cover plate on, the receptacle is not cocked and at an odd angle and sticking out unnecessarily. Now, returning to the original outlet, you'll see that the wire is not stripped back very much and is actually not very long. This was obviously done by someone who really didn't know what they were doing. They even wrapped the wire around the screw the wrong way. So they didn't give enough wire to work with, and they were afraid to strip it back too far for some reason. So I take the receptacle off, straighten out the wire, and remove a little bit more of the outer jacket, the NM jacket, so that I'll have something to work with. This is an important step because once I get the wire stripped back, we have 2 pieces of Romex in there now. There are 2 bare copper wires. They have to be twisted together and bonded together to maintain a safe equipment ground to all equipment in the circuit. If this is not done, and a lot of people leave out this step because they don't know that it's what it does, then you open yourself to safety issues, fire hazards, and so forth. So take those wires and strip them together, or twist them together. And then I use what's called a greenie. It's a green wire nut, and it has a hole in the end of the wire nut so that you can slide it down over the wire after you've cut off the excess of one of the wires, and you'll have just one wire sticking out so that you can put that to your outlet. So now, of course, I strip back the wires as I need. I bend my crooks in them, and I put them to the outlet. Now, on your outlets, most outlets have a silver set of screws on one side of the outlet, a brass set on the other side of the outlet, and a green one near the bottom of the outlet. The green one goes to the bare copper ground that you have just tied together with the other ground wire, and you tighten that. The silver ones get the white wires, or the neutral wires, or the grounded wires. The brass ones get the hot wires. If you have an outlet where both sides have silver or aluminum looking screws, this is an outlet that's rated for copper and aluminum, so there's no difference in the colors. But looking at it, if you're looking at the face of an outlet, the long leg on the left of the outlet is typically going to be your neutral. The shorter leg will be your hot wire, and the round one, of course, will be the ground. Now it's just a matter of putting it back together, making sure it's nice and square, tightening everything up, and putting the plate on. After that, you restore power and you have light at your new outlet.